These thoughts up in my head, things I never did. I took some L's, but I'm still here. I got these thoughts up in my head. I toss and turn about some things I never said. I got regrets about some things I never did. I took some risks and took some L's, but I'm still here. And I know.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Overthinking Thoughts Pod. I'm your host, Ed, and as always, journey with me as we pursue greatness in a world full of chaos. Chaotic it has been because I've been trying to record this episode, and all the technical difficulties that could have and have happened. The recording kept cutting off. The setup was all off, which you can't see because this is all you see. But it's been interesting. But I'm still gonna keep going. This is my purpose, and I don't want any setbacks to stop me from pursuing what it is that I feel like I'm called to do. So I'm gonna keep going, and hopefully you will do the same. Once again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out with me as we navigate the chaos and find the greatness within it all. I hope that you have not talked down on yourself, but you have found something positive about yourself and build off of that. I really hope that message from last week stands true. If you didn't catch it, you can always revisit the Overthinking Thoughts Pod and look at the different episodes, and hopefully you gain something from it. With that being said, I want to shout out all my new followers, everybody over at TikTok, those who have interacted with me, whether it was through comments or messaging, and even to those people on Instagram that have commented, new people that have liked. I thank you all for your support. Without you, it doesn't grow. But I'm also very thankful that you're gaining something from what I'm doing. So I appreciate you. So shout out to all of y'all. And just know that this podcast is streaming Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. I put the videos up on YouTube. So if you're more visual, then we definitely have that avenue as well. And then, of course, for the socials, if you want to support, you can go ahead and follow me over on Instagram at the Overthinking Thoughts Pod. And then also at TikTok at the Overthinking Thoughts Pod. Definitely appreciate those that support. Let's see. Some positives. Got a chance to see a lot of great students graduate high school the other day. It was so exciting to see their journey, see their excitement. And also, the graduation was really quick. I like that. I feel bad. This is a quick sub story, but I'm gonna share it anyway. I remember when I was graduating from college, and they brought this guest speaker in, and this woman talked for probably 35 minutes or so. And it got to the point we kept trying to clap her off, which I know that sounds bad. Just charge it to us being young. We tried to clap her off, and she just wouldn't leave. She was going to get her point across. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I don't remember anything that woman talked about. I remember getting my name called, though. So that was cool. But outside of that, man. So if you could keep your graduation like quick to the point, and we get there for the show of the actual students graduating, I support it. So shout out to them. Shout out to all those students. Y'all know that I got much love for y'all. So it was just happy. I was happy to be a part of that. Another thing I'm happy about is that vacation's coming up. So you probably won't get a new episode next week. It's not because I don't love y'all. It's just that I need to love myself and give myself some time to recharge, spend some time with family, just kind of clear my mind, maybe think of some new thoughts, new ideas, new ways that I can motivate and encourage. So yeah, self-care is happening. I hope that you find self-care somewhere in your life as well. Self-care is not selfish. I want to make that point. Self-care is not selfish. It is an important tool that you need in order to recharge, to rebuild, and to relax because we need it. So that's my spiel. All right. Now that we've gotten those things out of the way, let's figure out what can I do to encourage you this week. Here's the thing. I don't have a title for this episode yet. When you get it and when it's posted, it'll have one. But at this point of time recording, I don't know what I'm gonna call it. I've had a lot of random thoughts, and some things that have kind of stuck out a little bit more. So I think I'm gonna elaborate on those things. You might be able to relate to them, and I hope that we gain something from it. But I'm gonna jump into this. Here's what I was thinking about the other day. Um, I remember having this conversation with a particular person. I'm not gonna air this person out, but we're having this conversation, and they were talking to me about their relationship, and it was a little rocky. And the more this person started to talk about what was going on, I started to realize that it wasn't necessarily the relationship, it was this person's view and thought of how they were pursuing the relationship. And it was not a healthy way. It was very obvious that there was some emotional baggage, some things that were done in the past that this person wanted to make sure that they guarded their heart. And I do respect the fact that, there's honor in making sure that you take care of yourself and take care of your heart. But there becomes a weird thing when people are trying to really accept you for who you are, and you're so guarded that instead of showcasing that emotion in a positive way, you start to push people away. And it was starting to get to that point, and I had to tell this person, like, you're reaching surface level as to what bothers you, but that's not the main issue. Like, one thing I learned when I was going to therapy was like, I w- there were things that would make me anxious and things that I would overthink, like mistakes that I made, and that's what I would dwell on. But I didn't understand that there was a deeper issue as to why all those things were happening. And as I took that journey, and it was a very eye-opening experience, it really helped me to understand what the root cause was. So I was able to see it. And then once you get to that point, then you have a decision to make. You can either sit and dwell in it and let it build on top of you to the point where you feel like you can't let go, or you can start slowly taking steps to remove those things and try to change the way that you navigate now. Like, I think one of the biggest things that we do as individuals is we hold on to things that we don't need anymore because it brings us a weird sense of comfort. And comfort will stunt growth so bad in a way that you think you're progressing, but in all actuality, all you've done is walk in a complete circle. Hear me out on this. So, if you keep going into, say, relationships and they all keep ending the same way, it might not be who you're choosing. It's probably you. And I hate to say that, but I had to learn that, right? If you keep pursuing business ventures and they keep failing and you can't figure out why, if you are trying to get promotions but they keep saying like, hey, you haven't done enough, or you haven't grown, or like it's a master's degree level and you've done nothing to get your master's degree, you can't expect to make progress, right? Like, there's just some things you're gonna have to change. Some of us don't want to make progress because we are afraid that we will fail. And even more scary, some of us don't want to make progress because we're more afraid of who we will become. And we're so used to the broken version of us. We've learned to accept that, keep it, and then not put the right healing on it to help us grow. And getting back to this person, that was just kind of something that made me think about it. I just, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I hear what you're saying and I can see the route you're trying to take. But have you taken the time to really look at what you're carrying in this bag? Because you're pulling out these like small pieces, right? That are like problematic. Okay, fine, and you're dealing with that a little bit, but you're not picking up the heaviest object that you know is there, but you don't want to deal with it. And my thought is, why would you hold on to something that's going to prevent you from becoming the best version of you? Most of us can't become who we're supposed to be because we keep putting things in the way to stop us from pursuing it. our own thoughts, our own beliefs, our own baggage, our own denials, our own guilt, our own anxious thoughts, just a lot of things that we don't need, a lot of unnecessary roadblocks. And the reality is like the more you start putting the negative things into your way, there's never a chance that you're going to see anything positive. And that sounds pretty simple and cliche, but the reality is it happens every single day. Like I remember one time I had this comment came to me and it was wild. It was like, I don't want to, what did they say? It was like, the reason why I don't push myself is because I'm afraid of who I can become. And if I become more powerful, I just don't know how to handle it. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? Like, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to grow. You're supposed to get better. If 16-year-old you is still the same version of you at 34, 35, 36, I'm sorry, something is wrong. You got to change it. We're all about improvement and we're all about growth. And I don't want you to stay stagnant. I want you to move forward. I want you to make progress. I want you to see that with each step that you take, you're breaking generational curses. You are starting to build positive reinforcements and you're starting to bring your family into a new light, new beginnings, new opportunities, new growth. That's not anything to be afraid of. You might be a little nervous because it's new to you, but just think about the more progress that you make, how much more powerful you will become. Like it makes me think like there was a point in my life where I felt like I'll never make it to this point. I won't have a podcast. I won't have a wife. I won't have kids. These were things that I wanted, but then I was too afraid because I was like, well, every relationship I've had has failed. Everything I've tried to start doesn't work. And I was like, you know what? At some point, something's got to give because I know I want it. Me personally, I prayed on it. So I knew that if I gave it to God, he was going to give it to me if it was in his will. And I thank God that it was in his will. And I think also the flip side of that is we become discouraged if we feel like it's something we should have and then it doesn't happen. And then we start making up these excuses or these things are like, well, if that didn't happen, then I'll never make it. Nah, man, stop saying what you're never gonna do and start trying to go after things that you feel will make you be more successful. And the things that are gonna help you grow. Some of us are afraid to get there. That was me when I went to therapy. I was definitely afraid of figuring out what is it that's holding me back. But then once I got there, it made sense. Like, oh, I see what's stopping me. So now you got a choice. You can either continue to let it stop you, or you could do something about it. You can change the way that you think. You can change your behavior. You can change your discipline. You could change your steps. Some of us like to look back in our past and dwell on those things, and the dwelling will not allow us to take steps to move forward. My thought is if you're going to look back and learn. Don't look back and dwell. Look back and learn. Learn from your mistake so you can get better. Learn from what makes you overthink so you can get rid of those negative thoughts. Learn what makes you anxious so that when you see it coming, you can already put on your full armor and say, not today, because I'm above this and I know you're trying to bring me down, but I ain't going to let you. We should never look back. We should always walk with our head up. And the other thing is when we're walking with our head up, it allows us to see where we're headed. No reason to be looking down. We so worried about if I take this step, what's it gonna look like? You looking down, taking steps, you're gonna run into things that you don't need to run into. And my thought is if you are gonna look down, make sure you're picking somebody up so that way they can keep their head up and look forward too. Don't I have to keep telling you not to dwell on these things because we're not meant we're not meant to be a shell of ourselves. Like we're meant to live this thing to full potential. And I don't know how much time you got on this earth. I don't know how much time I have on this earth, but I do know with the time that I have, I need to make the moments count. I need to create the time to make sure that I'm giving everything that I have. So that way when it is my time to go, I'm not standing there looking and being like, I have all of these things I could have used and I never did it. I don't want that to be you. I definitely don't want that to be me. I don't want that to be my kids. So I'm gonna keep pushing them, and I know they're gonna keep pushing me. I realize that progress is a thing that takes some time. I realize that moving forward can be scary, but I also know that it is worth it. And you're worth it. But you got to believe that you're worth it. You got to know that you're worth it. You got to speak life and say that what you're going for is worth it. Break that generational curse. Don't let the history dictate your future because it doesn't have to happen that way. You just because you've seen things not go well doesn't mean that it can't go well in the future. You might have seen relationships fail, doesn't mean yours will. You might see businesses that are broken down, doesn't mean that yours will. You might see people who started off in school and dropped out, doesn't mean that you will. You got a different path, you have a different journey. Go live your journey, go live your life. Go pursue things that are going to make you happy. Go pursue things that are going to make you be great. Go pursue things that are going to build wealth for you, your family, your kids, your future grandkids, right? Like build that stuff up. But don't stay still. Don't stay still. We got to make forward progress. You staying still and hoping that somebody bring you something, it ain't going to happen that way. I thought that that would work. I'm going to tell you, I got left behind. I remember coming out of high school thinking like people were just going to hand me something and say, okay, cool, you can go to college, do this and do that. Man, when school started, you know what I became? A janitor. Because I had no other job. I had no other way to go. And I wanted to go to school. And I'm not even, I'll tell you, actually being a janitor is a lot of work. But here's what I learned from that experience. I learned that in that process, there were people that here's certain people that I met. Ones that settled, ones that knew they were greater, and ones that were using that to build something bigger. And they all gave me valuable lessons. All of them did. That was one of the greatest jobs I had because it taught me that I could pursue something bigger than what that was. To start off in the basement of a hospital and end up being in front of people helping them dictate their futures is a beautiful thing. And what is also nice is that people who actually love and enjoyed their job went on to either create their own thing or found new opportunities to where they can help others in that profession. You'd be surprised at like where you can go because if I would have just allowed that situation to dictate who I was, I don't know if I'd still be there. I don't know if I would have thought that I could make it bigger or better. But the one thing I had to do, I had to quit allowing myself to believe that I wasn't worth it. Take some time, take self love, take some encouragement for sure. And it takes you being around people that believe in you too. And you'll find those people because when you start chasing or pursuing the dream and you're taking the steps in the right way, the right people are going to see that and they're going to come to your side. And you'll be surprised because you'll think that you're in this by yourself, but people watch what you do. People watch how you grow. People watch how you move. So move with purpose, move with dignity because your purposeful steps just might provide purpose for somebody else's life. But you better not quit on you. Too many people are doing that already, and you don't need to be another person that does that. So, like I said, I don't know what this is gonna be, but these are just things that I thought about. Another thing that I was thinking about as as I'm watching my kids grow and thinking about my life and thinking about journeys and things, I learned that, for example, if we're traveling, if I stay in one spot, I'm never gonna reach my destination. If I keep looking behind me while I'm trying to go forward on the road, I'm liable to cause an accident. So I have to shift my focus to what's in front of me and I have to forget what's behind me. From a biblical standpoint, if you're Christian or believe in God and you have that faith, God will tell you, like, I press forward toward the goal. forgetting the things that are behind and moving toward what's ahead, pressing forward toward the goal, not pressing backwards, not pressing standstill, pressing forward. You understand what I'm saying? Like, in order for you to make progress, you have to then produce a footstep that moves in a forward direction. And some of us are afraid to take the first step. There's a fear in that. There's a fear in being the first person to do it. There's a fear in, if I take these steps, are they going to lead to the path that's what I'm used to because I've seen other people do it? There's a, I don't know what it is about certain aspects of life, but there just seems to be these moments where we will find comfort in what has broken us, and we won't believe that there is healing that's ahead of us. Scary to think when you're trying to make progress, right? But here's my encouragement. Do what my brother Tim would tell you to do. Fail forward. Make progress and go forward. If you fall and you falling forward, you're like, man, I made all these steps and it didn't work. That doesn't mean that I stopped there. It just means that this part wasn't for me. There's something new that's available. I'm gonna go see and pursue this and see if I can keep going. Like, don't let failure stop you. Eric Thomas was talking about this. Somebody asked him if he considered himself a failure, and he said that, "Oh, I failed at a lot of things in life. I failed at being, a good son, a student, a husband, a father. Like I failed at all those things. It's just that I didn't sit in my failure. I didn't sit there. I kept going. That's what makes me different from other people. The reason why I feel that I've gotten this far with my podcast is because I didn't sit and allow it to like destroy me when I couldn't think of something to do. I just said, get in front of the camera, use what you have, and start talking. From then, I've been able to grow, and I've gotten insight, and I've gotten ideas, and I've gotten, feedback, and I've got positive critiques. Like, would that happen if I was still sitting in the room looking at these ideas and never deciding on pressing play and making a deadline? That was the best thing I could have done, was sit there and post on my personal Instagram page that this is what I was doing, because then people were like, is this really happening? And then I felt like, oh, I got to do this thing. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I did. And I encourage you to do the same thing. I encourage you to go out and pursue what it is that you want to do. The only thing that's probably stopping you is you. The negative thought, like, I know we talked about this last week, but it's so important to keep telling you that you don't need to speak negative to your life. It's so important for you to know that there's a purpose, because you have air in your lungs and you woke up to see a new day. And there's people that are going to see you, whether you know them or whether you don't. And you might do something that changes your life for the better in that day. You don't know, but you got to go out and live it. You can't keep dwelling on what you've done before. It's over with. Like, that's something that I had to overcome. My therapist would tell me, like, you keep looking back at this, and it was like, the best advice I think I got was to be the best version that you can be for younger you. Oh man, that's gonna make me vulnerable. That's about to make me trip. But being who younger you needed, be that person. Be that voice, be that encouragement. And my biggest threat is that sometimes younger me and older me clash, because younger me sees older me doing all these things and thriving because they don't want to go back to the stuff that took them away. And younger me is like, I wish I had that back then. But if I didn't experience those things, maybe I don't grow into the person that I am today. Maybe I don't learn the right way. Maybe I'm not able to be, a father of two boys. I don't know. I'm just thankful that I was trusted with this opportunity. And because I have it now, I don't want to do anything to jeopardize or waste or not pour into my sons and give them life. And I say that because there may be something that you have that you need to pour into, and you're just not doing it because you are worried about the what if, or you're dwelling on past mistakes, or you feel like nobody else has done it so you can't. Look, you can, and you will. You must. You have to, because it's on your life. Remember what I told you. If you got a calling, you got to answer that. So pick up that phone and figure out what it is that you need to do and what that purpose is, and then go do it. And don't you let anything or anybody or anything negative stop you. If you got people around you and then those people decide that they want to hate on what you're doing, you don't need them. Cut them off. Let them go. I'm gonna talk about that in a future episode because that's something we need to focus on. But man, pursue what you feel is gonna make you great. That's gonna help you grow. That's gonna help you become the best version of you. And don't worry about what other people think or what they say or what they do, because your journey is your journey. What's designed for you is designed for you. Not everybody can fit into your shoe. That's why you got custom made shoes that look good that nobody else can wear, and you know how to rock them the right way. And I know that's a crazy metaphor, but it is what it is. But you follow what I'm saying here. I told you this was gonna be random. I still don't know what I'm gonna call this, but that's cool. I got thoughts. I got to get them out. This is what it's been. Yeah, I still don't know a title. Regardless of all that, I say all that to say this, and if you've been following me, I'm grateful for it, because I don't know where the direction is in this episode. But here's what I do know. I know that we're all here for some reason. I know that you have a gift. I know you want to pursue it. I know you're scared. I know you're nervous because you ain't never done it before. It's new to you. And you want to do so well. I know you do. But there's this fear of what happens if I don't make it. And then you put yourself in this position of going back and forth in your mind, and then you start overthinking it. And now you become anxious because you're starting to worry about what people might think about it, or you're starting to worry about what family members might think about it, or you're starting to worry about what you'll look like if you go pursue something, and it might look foreign to other people, but to you it is bright as day that this is what you need to do. I encourage you to go after it. I encourage you to go be great. That's what my dad told me. Don't be afraid to be great. I remember it. I remember him telling me that, and that has stuck with me ever since he wrote that. And I think about that because I know he wants what's best for me. And I know there's moments where he might look and say, man, I didn't do all the things I needed to get my son where he needed to be. But in actuality, he did. It might not have been in a traditional way, but he gave me so much to grow from that I can't do nothing but be thankful. And the best way to show him that I've learned this, and the best way to show myself that I can pursue greatness, and the best way to show that, hey, God, I'm not going to waste what you gave me, I'm going to go pursue it. And I'm going to try to do the best that I can with what I have. And I want you to go do the exact same thing. Use what you have and build off of it, because what you'll need will come if you pursue greatness. Stop holding on to negative things that don't help you grow, and start finding positive things that are going to help you become the best version of you that you need to be. We waiting on it. We counting on you. You got something great inside of you, and I need to see it, and I need you to believe it, and I need you to go pursue it, and I need you to be the best version of you. I need you to break out of that cocoon and become the beautiful butterfly that we all grow to love, because we know that you had to go through a process. And maybe you in that season right now where you're getting ready to build into that butterfly state, and maybe you had to take a step back to allow those things to happen. And just think of all the stuff that you got to go through to allow that process. Because at the end, when you break through, ain't it the most beautiful thing? Isn't it something that everybody wants to see? Isn't it something that people can step back and enjoy? That's your journey. That's your path. I want you to pursue it. Your goal this week, I know I told you to find one positive thing. This week, I want you to go out and live it. I want you to take that positive thing and I want you to put it into action. And just know this, I know it's going to work because I believe in you. Now go believe in yourself, all right? It's the Overthinking Thoughts Pod. I'm Ed. I still don't have a title, but I love y'all anyway. We out.
These thoughts up in my head. Things I never did. I took some L's, but I'm still here. I got these thoughts up in my head. I toss and turn about some things I never said. I got regrets about some things I never did. I took some risks and took some L's, but I'm still here. And I know.